Chapter 61, Battle Against the Water Arrow Turtle, Difficult Transformation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, let's get this show on the road and meet our contestants. First, on my left, we have Lin Wu from Demon City Elf University. Whoa! The crowd goes wild. And over here on my right, it's Jiang Li from Jinling, the dark horse of the Elf Cup. The crowd roars as the match kicks off. Blastoise, you're up. Go, Shakira's, at the ref signal, both trainers send out their Pokémon, but as soon as Jiang Li Shakira's hits the field, some fans start booing. Nobody expected that in an official match, Jiang Li's using Shakira's. Sure, it's the pre-evolution of Tyranitar, a pseudo-legendary, but even so, Shakira's is a rock/ground type. Blastoise has a 4x type advantage. Has Jiang Li lost it? Or is he just plain dumb? Some people are even yelling fix. And it's rigged. Jiang Li, what's up with that? Why didn't you bring out your Charizard? Fine, you wanna underestimate me? Don't expect me to go easy on you. You're gonna regret this decision. Shakira's is gonna pay. Lin Wu is fuming. Jiang Li sending out Shakira's. She feels like Jiang Li's looking down on her, daring to use a Pokémon that's so weak against her Blastoise. She's already planning to teach Jiang Li a lesson he won't forget, but Jiang Li isn't in on any conspiracy. His Shakira's is about to evolve. He felt its shell earlier, and it's ready to shed. A little pressure, and Shakira's can finally become a real Tyranitar, and what's more pressure than a Blastoise that's 4x its weakness? Even if Shakira's doesn't evolve, he's got a backup plan. Shakira's has the explosion hidden ability, plus, this arena is rocky, with stones everywhere. If Shakira's is truly outmatched, he'll use explosion, he'll detonate all the rocks around the field. Lin Wu's Blastoise won't stand a chance. After all, Jiang Li needs to win. His Charizard's Mega Stone is on the line. Jiang Li scans Blastoise. Pokémon, Blastoise, gender, male, level, 30, peak, type, water, ability, rain dish, hidden, potential, gym leader level, moves, hyper beam, take down, water gun, water cannon, withdraw, rain dance, telekinesis, mega punch, mega kick, water pulse, water tail, crunch, protect, flash cannon. Looking at Blastoise's stats, Jiang Li feels confident. Blastoise, rain dance. Right off the bat, Lin Wu tells Blastoise to summon rain and control the weather. Blastoise gathers water energy and sends a blue wave into the sky. The wave bursts, and dark clouds appear over the arena. Lightning flashes, thunder rumbles, and a downpour begins. The entire arena is soaked. This rain is bad news for Shakira's. The rainwater is infused with Blastoise's water energy, constantly trying to seep into Shakira's body. It's not much, but it's constant. Over time, it'll be a problem. Shakira's, dig. Jiang Li tells Shakira's to burrow underground. Blastoise, stay alert. The arena goes quiet. Blastoise is tracking Shakira's every move underground. Now, mega kick. Knowing Shakira's is right under his feet, Blastoise puts all his energy into his legs. He kicks Shakira's out of the ground with a mega kick. Now, mega punch. Lin Wu seizes the chance while Shakira's is airborne. Shakira's, earth power, ground smash. Jiang Li anticipates the attack. Shakira's dives back underground, then, he bursts out next to Blastoise and drags him halfway into the ground. Blastoise is stuck up to his neck. Now, rock throw. Shakira's is about to capitalize when. Blastoise, rapid spin. Blastoise retracts into his shell and spins out of the ground. He slams into Shakira's with rapid spin. Shakira's is sent flying into a nearby rock formation. He crashes through the rock formation, landing dazed in the hole. Rapid spin didn't do much damage thanks to Blastoise's shell, but the impact has Shakira's disoriented. Finish it. Water cannon. While Shakira's is still dazed, Lin Wu orders the final blow. Blastoise drops down, exposing the cannons on his back. He aims at Shakira's and fires two massive water cannons. The impact hits Shakira's head on, blasting him and the rock formation to pieces. water attacks, 4 times the damage, are tearing Shakira's apart. Chapter 62 Evolve. Banguilas. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Weakened by the water cannon, Shakira's was running on fumes. If the battle dragged on, Shakira's was a goner. He was at a critical point, and Zhongli was about to pull out his trump card and end it all. Then, a blinding white light erupted on the field. It was coming from Shakira's, the light of evolution. Shakira's had successfully broken free from his limitations. Spurred on by the water arrow turtle's attacks, he was about to make the ultimate leap, completing his transformation into a true quasi-god Pokémon, Tyranitar. Under the radiant glow, he grew strong, new limbs. As he grew taller, Shakira's looked like a kid next to Blastoise, but compared to the newly evolved Tyranitar, the water arrow turtle suddenly seemed small. Roar! Tyranitar, empowered by his evolution, roared triumphantly, expressing his joy at finally reaching this stage. That's it. That's it. Zhongli Shakira's is evolving. That's why he put Shakira's out there, to complete this final transformation, that the host announced. The atmosphere in the arena exploded with excitement thanks to Tyranitar's emergence. The crowd chanted Tyranitar. Tyranitar, this was the rare quasi-god Pokémon, Tyranitar. In this Elf Cup challenge, only one other player possessed a fully evolved quasi-god Pokémon. Now another one had appeared in Zhongli's corner. This quasi-god Pokémon made the audience believe Zhongli had a real shot at winning. They were already anticipating an epic showdown in the next match with the other quasi-god Pokémon. Zhongli studied Tyranitar, who radiated joy, and used his appraisal ability. Species: Tyranitar, shiny. Gender: female. Strength: level 28, upper intermediate. Type: rock/dark. Ability: sand stream. Potential: quasi-king. Moves: birth release, birth formation wall, birth release, heart beheading technique, birth release, super light heavy rock technique, birth release, birth flow city, blood succession boundary, explosion escape, tackle, leer, payback, bite, scary face, rock throw, stomp, hyper beam. After evolving, Tyranitar's power jumped a level, reaching upper intermediate level 28. Lin Wu, on the battle stage, looked concerned. She knew the audience expected her to lose. Against a real quasi-god Pokémon, this ignited her competitive spirit. She wanted to defeat Tyranitar and prove the audience wrong. Blastoise, use Hydro Pump again. Facing the evolved Tyranitar, Lin Wu ordered another Hydro Pump. Even though Tyranitar had gained Rock and Dark typing, Water-type attacks were no longer 4 times as effective, but they were still twice as effective, and it was still raining. Hydro Pump was still a viable strategy. Blastoise lowered itself, its cannons aimed and ready. High-pressure jets of water roared forth, crashing into Tyranitar. Tyranitar. Use Earth Release Earth Flow Wall. As the high-pressure water attack approached, a massive earthen wall rose in front of Tyranitar. Infused with rock-type energy, the wall became incredibly sturdy. The Hydro Pump slammed into the wall, cracking it in places because the rainy conditions boosted its power, but the wall held. Zhongli only wanted Tyranitar to use the Earth Current Wall to buy time. His real aim was to seize control of the weather from Blastoise. Now, Tyranitar. Tyranitar roared and activated Sand Stream. With the ability's power, the dark clouds began to dissipate. The rain slowly stopped. Yellow sand started to spread across the ground, covering half the arena. If it weren't for Blastoise's rain dish ability, the entire stadium would have been engulfed in a sandstorm. Even so, Tyranitar's sandstorm had taken over most of the field. The water arrow turtle's rainy environment was being pushed into a corner. The desert tyrant was living up to its name. Thanks to Sand Stream, this weather war was all about countering Blastoise. Damn it! Seeing the disadvantageous environment, Lin Wu cursed. As a water-type Pokémon, being caught in a sandstorm was terrible. The constant scratching from the sand would drain its energy. Lin Wu had to make the water arrow turtle attack more aggressively, otherwise, Blastoise would run out of steam and lose when the venue was fully engulfed in a sandstorm. Blastoise, use Water Pulse. Following the trainer's instructions, the water arrow turtle gathered all the water energy in his body. The energy focused and then detonated across the venue. A blue pulse, similar to a net field, shot towards Tyranitar. Tyranitar, protect. Zhongli quickly called out for Tyranitar to use Protect, forming a transparent barrier. The wave of water slammed against the shield. The water arrow turtle uses Sacrifice Crash, then Water Tail. Tyranitar, same here. Sacrifice Crash. The water arrow turtle revved his thick legs and charged at Tyranitar, receiving Zhongli's order. Tyranitar lowered his body, he slammed into the charging water arrow turtle. The collision created a deafening boom, and the two massive Pokémon locked horns. The weight of the combatants caused the ground to crack, but this time, Tyranitar clearly had the advantage. His immense strength staggered the water arrow turtle. Chapter 63 You Have a Way to Die. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Even so, Blastoise charged ahead fearlessly, channeling all its water energy into its tail and unleashing a water tail attack. Tyranitar, grab it! I yelled. Faced with the incoming water tail, Tyranitar stood her ground, taking the hit head-on. She swung her massive claws and seized the slippery Blastoise. Tyranitar, use Crunch! Tyranitar opened her massive maw, gathering dark energy within. As expected of a dark type, her fierce expression was terrifying. Any ordinary Pokémon would likely be paralyzed with fear just from that aura. Blastoise, use Protect! Lin Wu shouted. Facing Tyranitar's crunch, Lin Wu commanded Blastoise to retreat into its shell, using its toughest defense to withstand the attack. Tyranitar's sharp fangs crunched down on the shell, making a metallic grinding sound as dark energy surged around it. Even inside its shell, Blastoise felt a dull, throbbing pain all over. Tyranitar's biting power was almost too much for the shell to handle. Tyranitar, use Hyper Beam! I commanded Tyranitar to unleash a Hyper Beam on the shelled Blastoise, aiming to finish the match. Tyranitar immediately began gathering energy, forming a massive, incandescent ball of energy in her mouth. Blastoise, use Flash Cannon! Lin Wu countered. Blastoise began glowing intensely, focusing all the light into its cannons. The resulting beam of energy shot towards Tyranitar at point-blank range. At the same time, Tyranitar unleashed her Hyper Beam, a pale white light capable of obliterating anything in its path. The two beams collided, the friction causing everyone to squint. While a direct hit from Blastoise's Flash Cannon might do some damage, Tyranitar's raw power was overwhelming. The Hyper Beam slammed into Blastoise's cannons, hitting him squarely and sending him flying backward. The force of the beam slammed Blastoise against the side of the arena, leaving a deep gouge in the rock. As the Hyper Beam subsided, Blastoise collapsed, unable to move. The attack had clearly drained his energy, leaving him dazed. Blastoise! Lin Wu cried out, worried. 8, 3, 2, 1. Tyranitar wins. The referee announced. The audience erupted in cheers for the victor. Lin Wu silently recalled Blastoise and headed to the nearby Pokémon Center for a checkup. A woman who appeared to be an important staff member at the gym watched the whole match. She nodded approvingly. 2 matches were held in the morning, and 4 in the afternoon. After 2 days, the tense top 16 round was over. Back at the hotel, I was reviewing the freshly released list of players for the quarterfinals. I was on it, as was the girl in black stockings. I learned that she was a sophomore at Wuzhou University's affiliated high school. Her Gardevoir was her first Pokémon. If things went as planned, I'd face her in the semi-finals. The quarterfinals were the next day. I arrived early at the arena. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Tang Ying, and I'll be providing commentary for the quarterfinals. Let's welcome the players for the first match. First, we have this competition's dark horse, Zhongli, a high school student from Jinling City. I waved to the crowd. And next, we have Tang Si, a sophomore from Demon City Elf University. Everything was being filmed. After all, hosting the Elf Cup competition was expensive, and they needed to recoup their costs by selling videos of the matches. I walked to the center of the arena. Both sides took their positions, ready to send out their Pokémon. Tang Si surprised me by saying, "You're the one who beat my Xiao Wu." Xiao Wu? Who's that? I was confused. Could it be Lin Wu? Was this Tang Si his girlfriend? That's right, my Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu is such a great guy. Why did you have to beat him? Wouldn't it have been nicer to just lose? Do you have any idea how much it hurt my Xiao Wu when you beat him? He had a terrible day yesterday. I'm telling you, you hurt my Xiao Wu, you're gonna pay. Just watch me, Lan Tang. Wrong set. Go. Kingdra. Tang Si sent out a Kingdra, a water/dragon-type Pokémon. This Kingdra looked like a seahorse, with horns like a Chinese dragon and fins that resembled a sea dragon. These Kingdra are rare because they need a dragon scale item to evolve. Chapter 64 The Dragon King in the Sea, Thorny Dragon King. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dragon scales are super rare, but just because a dragon-type Pokémon drops a scale doesn't mean it's the real deal. Think of them like the Pokémon's weak spot, that one scale they're extra protective of. Getting your hands on one is next to impossible. Unless, maybe, you stumble upon one in a dragon-type Pokémon graveyard. Because they're so rare, a single dragon scale can easily fetch tens of millions on the market, and even then, good luck finding one. Every trainer and their mother with a Seadra wants to evolve it into a Kingdra using those scales, so the fact that Tang Si has a Kingdra tells you his family's loaded. Rumor has it, the Dragon King of the East China Sea roams those waters, specifically a Kingdra with the strength of a top-tier Elite Four member. Apparently, he hangs out at the bottom of the East China Sea in a place called the Dragon Palace. Whenever he pops up in his territory, he's known to put younger dragon types in their place. Knowing Kingdra's personality, Zhongli figured the Dragon King of the East China Sea is probably a Kingdra with some serious power. Your call, Charizard. But with that, Zhongli unleashed his own Charizard into the arena. He was rolling his eyes at Tang Si for saying Xiao Wu shouldn't be eliminated. Like, what was he supposed to do? Throw the match on purpose? Back in the arena, Zhongli scanned the Kingdra floating in the air with his analyzer. Species, Kingdra. Gender, male. Strength, level 30, normal tier peak. Type, water/dragon. Ability, swift swim. Talent, gym leader level. Moves, rain dance, dragon breath, dragon dance, dragon rage, dragon rush, hyper beam, scale shot, dragon pulse, surf, whirlpool, dive, wide guard, water gun. Seeing that insane move pool, Zhongli couldn't help but think, this Kingdra really lives up to its title of King of the Sea, Kingdra, rain dance. Facing a fire-type Charizard, Tang Si's first move was obviously to have Kingdra summon rain. Kingdra stared intently at the sky, and moisture began to condense. Soon, dark clouds blanketed the arena, and lightning crackled. Rain began to pour down. Charizard, sunny day. Even though his Charizard could handle rain or shine, Zhongli didn't want to give away his Pokémon secret. It could store water and become stronger in rain. Letting the Charizard stay in a rainy environment would make the water-storing ability obvious and let other trainers figure out Charizard's ability, leaving Zhongli exposed. He's just an ordinary trainer for now. After all, if he had unstoppable power, sure, he'd reveal Charizard's secret ability, but right now, he'd better keep a low profile. Charizard roared towards the sky, launching a huge fireball. The fireball exploded, clearing away half the dark clouds. Suddenly, the arena was split in half, with clear skies near Charizard, and a rainy zone for the Kingdra. Of course, Charizard did this on purpose. If it really wanted to take over the weather, the opposing Kingdra would stand no chance against Charizard because Charizard has natural energy, and even the best water types wouldn't be able to stand up to it. Kingdra, use Surf. Tang Si watched the two Pokémon battling for control of the weather and the arena. He quickly ordered his Kingdra to use Surf to break the stalemate. Kingdra channeled the surrounding water, creating currents around himself. The water surged forward in huge waves, crashing toward Charizard. Charizard, Dragon Rage. Faced with the oncoming waves, Zhongli didn't bother with defense. He ordered Charizard to use Dragon Rage directly on Kingdra. To everyone else, it looked like Charizard was taking the Surf head-on to attack Kingdra, but the real trick was that Kingdra's Surf was actually healing Charizard. Charizard channeled Draconic energy, gathering it in his mouth. A blast of true dragon fire roared towards Kingdra, striking him square in the chest. The dragon-type damage knocked Kingdra off his feet. He was blasted right out of the water. The dragon-type energy continued to ravage his body. Dragon is super effective against dragon, and Charizard's Dragon Rage was doing serious damage. Meanwhile, the Surf crashed over Charizard, engulfing him in a raging torrent. it was as if he was sinking to the bottom of the ocean, battered by the relentless currents. Both Pokémon are really bringing the heat, and it's a double-edged sword for both of them. Charizard's Dragon-type attack landed a super effective hit, but he also took double damage from the surf. The damage they took is pretty much equal. Let's see how this plays out. Tang Ying, the announcer, provided the play-by-play. Oh, it's not the same at all. You've fallen right into my trap, and you think it's even. Tang Si sneered. Kingdra, use Whirlpool. That because Kingdra had used Surf, the entire arena was flooded. Charizard was swimming in the water. Hearing his trainer's command, Kingdra began to swim around the lake. The water churned, forming a massive whirlpool. The vortex formed right beneath Charizard, dragging him down into its depths. I get it now. That's it. That's why Tang Si had his Kingdra use Surf. The announcer, Tang Ying, gasped, watching the match on TV. Jiang Li's friend, Bai Li, and Jiang Li's potential girlfriend, Ji Ling, broke out in a cold sweat. From their point of view, Charizard was trapped in the vortex, completely at the mercy of the swirling currents. Chapter 65 Immortal Technique Reverse Scale. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You know, Charizard's a total fire-type beast. Down at the bottom of the lake, surrounded by all that water energy, it's just a constant barrage of swirling currents. You'd think even a superpowered Charizard couldn't handle it and would be taken down. At least, that's how it looks from the outside, but from Charizard's point of view, all that swirling water felt amazing, like a spa treatment, perfect for soothing those sore muscles after training. Actually, he thought the current could be stronger. Because no matter how tough your water moves are, with water absorb, it's just like giving Charizard a power-up. Charizard, break free. Jiangli didn't want Charizard hanging out down there too long. It would mess up the rest of their strategy. Oh, break free. Ha! If that Charizard can break free, I'll eat my hat right here. Tang Si was talking tough, but he was about to eat those words. His eyes bugged out as Charizard effortlessly flapped its wings. It soared out of the whirlpool and back into the sky. I'll eat an energy bar. Seeing Charizard fly out like that, Tang Si backpedaled fast. Roar! As soon as Charizard was out, it turned and grumbled at Jiangli, like, hey, I was having a good time down there. Why'd you pull me out so soon? Charizard, Dragon Ascent. Jiangli ignored the attitude and gave the battle command. Charizard channeled all its dragon energy, wrapping itself in a protective aura. That glowing blue energy shimmered like dragon armor. Kingdra, use Outrage. Tang Si wasn't backing down. He figured even if Charizard got out of the whirlpool, getting pounded by water like that had to have drained it. It was a paper tiger now. So, he ordered Kingdra to charge head-on with Outrage. Kingdra immediately went berserk, dragon energy exploding around it, its face twisted into a vicious snarl, like some kind of evil creature. Even Tang Si couldn't control Kingdra now. It would bite anything in its path. Tang Si's Kingdra evolved using scales from 3 Hydreigon. Hydreigon were known as the most brutal of dragon types. When Kingdra used Outrage, it became a monster. Only after tearing everything to shreds would it calm down. Tang Si wanted revenge for Xiao Wu. Jiangli messed with his prize, and that meant war. Kingdra didn't hesitate. It charged, eyes blazing, slamming its body into Charizard. The impact sent Kingdra reeling, but it was beyond reason. Ignoring the pain, it started tearing into Charizard, claws and teeth flying. The crowd went wild. Some of the younger fans covered their eyes. This was a real battle. Kingdra showed no sign of slowing down, gnashing its teeth, trying to rip Charizard apart. Yeah, Kingdra. That's it. Jiangli finally looked serious. Charizard, let's get medieval on. Use Outrage. Roar. Charizard instantly tapped into its natural energy. The damage from Kingdra's attacks healed in a flash, then it combined natural energy with dragon energy for an outrage attack of its own. Charizard's eyes burned, and it lunged at Kingdra, claws and teeth bared, but underneath the rage, Charizard was still in control. Thanks to the natural energy, it could stay aware during the attack. It wouldn't get lost in the madness. That gave Charizard a huge advantage. It started to dominate Kingdra. Bang! 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 Roar. Charizard, quick on its feet, locked its jaws on Kingdra's neck, it bit down hard and slammed Kingdra into the ground, creating a massive crater. The water in the arena drained into the hole. Kingdra! My Kingdra! Tang Si screamed, but Charizard wasn't stopping. It pretended to be completely consumed by outrage. It jumped on top of Kingdra, crushing the poor Pokémon with its full weight. Tang Si felt the backlash in his own mind. Zhongli faked a worried expression and told the referee he couldn't control Charizard. The ref immediately sent out his Pidgeot to restrain Charizard. As soon as Pidgeot pinned it, the madness in Charizard's eyes vanished. It even held up a paw, as if to say, "All good here, ref." Zhongli facepalmed. This was too much. Ref! I'm calling foul. I'm calling foul. Zhongli's Charizard couldn't control its outrage. It kept attacking after my Pokémon was down. Kingdra's hurt worse, and I'm taking psychic damage. The ref glared at Tang Si, then he snapped. You think I'm an idiot? Let me tell you something. Is there any rule in the rule book that says if a Pokémon can't control outrage they can't use it? And what about your Kingdra? Did it look like it was under control? Chapter 66 New Mission, Extraction from Another World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. People suspected the Thorny Dragon King couldn't control its rage, hence Charizard's decision. The referee was scared stiff when the Thorny Dragon King used rage. For trainers at their level, moves like rage are notoriously hard to control. Elves have died in competitions because they couldn't manage rage, so, the referee freaked out when he saw it. If he couldn't stop it, it would be a career-ending disaster. That's why he snapped back at Tang Si's complaint. It was completely baseless. Tang Si, still fuming, threatened to complain to the committee, but they couldn't help him, so he dropped it. After the match, Zhongli went straight back to the hotel and grabbed the energy cubes his mom had mailed. When she found out he'd gotten another dragon, she immediately customized his diet and made energy cubes tailored to the baby dragon's growth. Having a top-tier breeder for a mom was a real advantage. Plus, Zhongli had been giving the baby dragon monkey wine, which had boosted its strength dramatically in just a few days. At this rate, it would be at the novice level soon. Zhongli used his appraisal skill. Species, baby dragon. Gender, male. Strength, level 7, nascent stage. Type, dragon. Ability, sheer force, hidden. Potential, king. Moves, tackle, bite, ember, dragon rush, rage, Draco meteor. Since it was so young, Zhongli wasn't pushing it too hard with training. He just wanted it to get some exercise, burn off the energy cubes, and learn a few basic moves. With the semifinals 2 days away, Zhongli had some free time. He checked out posters for the semifinals and looked into his opponent, the girl who always wore black jeans. According to official sources, this girl, Luo Xian, was a sophomore at Wuzhou University High School and a member of their varsity team. Wuzhou and Jinling were among the strongest cities in Jiangnan province, but they were always at odds. Wuzhou's economy was stronger because it was close to Shanghai and part of its economic zone, but Jinling, as the provincial capital, had more prestige. They were constantly competing, even when it came to school rankings. For instance, Jiangli's Jinling University High School and Wuzhou University High School were rivals and would compete in the school team competition next year. If their school lost, they'd never hear the end of it. In the last Chinese League High School Elf competition, Jinling University High School's captain and vice-captain had moved on to college. Without their leadership, their ranking was terrible, and Wuzhou University High School surpassed them. Their school was humiliated for a whole year, so, if Zhongli lost to Luo Xian in the semifinals, he'd be relentlessly teased, especially by Su Fei, the guy he'd pissed off before, a member of the Su family. In Jinling, Zhongli had crossed him, but Su Fei hadn't retaliated yet, probably biding his time. Zhongli had killed a rich kid from the Su family in Purple Mountain Forest and stolen his Tyranitar and Pupitar. Now he'd revealed his Tyranitar. The problem was, how he'd gotten it wouldn't hold up to scrutiny. He worried the Su family would use that to figure out he was responsible for Master Su's death, and they'd come after him. Time flew by, and the semifinals were almost here. In the past few days, Su Lin's mother had called Zhongli repeatedly, trying to get him to sign a memorandum of understanding. She used both sweet talk and threats. So Jiangli blocked her number and set his phone to block unknown callers. This infuriated Su Lin's mother. Zhang's father called Jiangli and said Su Lin's mother had contacted him through someone to beg for mercy. She even threatened to get him fired if he didn't sign. This angered Zhang's father, so he contacted the Su family through old friends in Shanghai. His friends gave the Su family's old patriarch a warning. Jiangli was suspicious. How did his dad, seemingly just a regular employee, have such connections? After the warning, the Su family's patriarch scolded Su Lin's mother. He apologized to Jiangli and his family and offered compensation. Just when Jiangli thought it was over, the system issued a new mission. Ding dong. System mission, Su Lin's revenge. Mission content: because of the host, Su Lin was abandoned by his family and now seeks revenge. Mission requirement: thwart Su Lin's conspiracy and punish him. Task reward: lottery spin for a different world in the open system travel module. Jiangli was confused. Wasn't this resolved? How was Su Lin still causing trouble? Jiangli called the police station to find out what was going on. Su Lin had been released on medical parole, which made Jiangli furious. Wasn't that blatant fraud? To qualify for medical parole, you had to be seriously ill. Su Lin had time to plot revenge. How could he be seriously ill? But the officer sent Jiangli Su Lin's hospitalization certificate from the Shanghai Elf Hospital. It proved he'd been hospitalized. Jiangli was baffled. How had Su Lin faked the hospital's tests? But he'd face it head-on. Whatever Su Lin was planning, Jiangli was ready. Chapter 67, Fight against the girl in black stockings and face off against Gardevoir. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The mission rewards are pretty sweet too, like a lottery ticket for the system's dimension hopping module. Basically, completing this temporary system task means you can go on adventures in other worlds. Right now, Jiangli can only travel to the Naruto world, which is just a tiny speck in the grand scheme of things. This reward had Jiangli pumped. He was stoked for Su Lin to show up and give it to him. The next day, the Magic City Elf Cup semi-finals kicked off. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Lon. Let me break down the game for you. To my right, we have Jiangli from the high school affiliated with Jinda University. And the lovely Luo Xian from Wuzhou University No. 1 Middle School is on my left. That looks like there's a new commentator today, not Tang Ying like before. Both players are in position. Let the match begin. Let's go, Tyranitar. Gardevoir, it's your turn. At the ref's signal, Jiangli and Luo Xian sent out their star Pokémon. Naturally, Luo Xian chose her strongest, a Gardevoir in a pristine white dress. Jiangli had to go with his Tyranitar. The dark typing gives him an advantage against Gardevoir's psychic moves. Of course, Gardevoir's fairy typing is super effective against Tyranitar's dark type. These two Pokémon are a classic matchup. Jiangli used his Analyze on Gardevoir. Species, Gardevoir. Gender, female. Strength, 30, peak of average level. Type, psychic/fairy. Ability, telepathy, hidden ability. Potential, near champion level. Moves, dazzling gleam, hyper beam, flamethrower, double team, misty terrain, charm, heal pulse, hypnosis, drain kiss, teleport, confuse ray, life dew, wonder room. Luo Xian's Gardevoir is level 30. Maxing out the average level, she's been putting in the work. Last time Jiangli checked, Gardevoir was only level 29. Plus, this Gardevoir's potential is near champion level, which is super rare. Gardevoir are already uncommon, but one with champion level potential. That's something you don't see every day. Luo Xian's got to come from serious money, or else with that kind of potential would easily cost $1 billion or $2 billion, and even with that kind of cash, you need connections to even get the chance to buy one. A Gardevoir with champion level potential won't face any real obstacles on its way to the top, and once these psychic types reach champion level, they become crazy powerful. Their psychic terrain is insane, unless there are dark type field effects in play. No Pokémon can touch a psychic type in their own territory. Gardevoir, Dazzling Gleam. Right off the bat, Luo Xian has her Gardevoir use Dazzling Gleam, a fairy-type move that's doubly effective against dark types. Gardevoir floats into the air, extends her delicate hands, a burst of dazzling pink light shoots out, looking like a shooting star, and slams into Tyranitar. Tyranitar, Earth Power, Earth Wall. Before Zhongli could finish his command, a tall wall of earth erupts from the ground beneath Tyranitar. Gardevoir's dazzling gleam slams into the wall, dissipating harmlessly. Tyranitar, Hyper Beam. Zhongli wastes no time and goes straight for the big guns. Tyranitar gathers all his energy, focusing it in his mouth. A blinding white ball of energy, like a miniature sun, appears in the darkness. Then, a terrifying beam of pure destructive energy blasts from his jaws, heading straight for Gardevoir. Faced with the wave of raw destructive power, Gardevoir doesn't flinch. Gardevoir, Teleport. Luoxian commands coolly. Just as the beam is about to hit, a hair's breadth away from Gardevoir, she vanishes in a flash of light. There, sharp-eyed observers spot Gardevoir reappearing directly above Tyranitar. Gardevoir, Confuse Ray. Luoxian orders. Gardevoir immediately clasps her hands together, channeling psychic energy. She's about to unleash Confuse Ray on Tyranitar. Luoxian's timing is perfect. Tyranitar is vulnerable after using Hyper Beam. Hold on. Tyranitar, Dark Pulse. Zhongli saw this coming. Even though Tyranitar is briefly immobilized after Hyper Beam, he can still fight back, and Gardevoir is about to fire off Confuse Ray. He channels dark energy and throws it back. The accumulated dark energy surrounds Tyranitar like a dark aura. Then, in an instant, the dark energy explodes outward. Whoa! What? The audience gasps. The Gardevoir managed to break through the dark pulse and landed a hit on Tyranitar, dealing significant damage, but how could Gardevoir's psychic-type attack penetrate Tyranitar's dark-type defense? Dark types are immune to psychic moves. No psychic attack should be able to harm a dark-type Pokémon. Turns out, Gardevoir wasn't using Psychic-type Confuse Ray at all. Even though Luoxian called out Confuse Ray, Gardevoir actually used Fairy-type Moonblast. Zhongli misjudged the situation based on Luoxian's callout. The big question is, why did Gardevoir do the wrong thing? Chapter 68 Explosive Escape, Sharp Stone Attack, Fierce Battle. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Suddenly, it dawned on Zhongli. This Gardevoir's special ability was hidden, telepathy, meaning, a Gardevoir with this trait could use its mental power to talk directly to her trainer, Luoxian. Zhongli had completely overlooked this detail. It just hadn't registered. He'd always thought that mental conversations were reserved for superpowered Pokémon at the professional level or higher, beings capable of projecting their thoughts, or, the trainer themselves had to have psychic abilities to communicate telepathically with their Pokémon. Zhongli hadn't paid enough attention to Gardevoir's stats, so Luoxian verbally commanded her Gardevoir to use the psychic move, Phantom Force, but internally told her to use Fairy-type moves. Zhongli realized he was being played. He couldn't trust anything Luoxian said at face value, whether it was true or false. It was all designed to mess with him. Gardevoir, use Magical Fire. That at Luoxian's command, Gardevoir opened her hands, and a shimmering flame flickered around her. Tyranitar, Stone Edge, Attack. Zhongli realized he shouldn't care what Gardevoir did. Luoxian was just trying to distract him. Instead of reacting to Luoxian's feints, Zhongli would stick to his own strategy. He watched Tyranitar gather energy from the surrounding rocks, creating razor-sharp projectiles overhead. The stones filled the sky above the battlefield, creating a dense, terrifying barrage. Gardevoir, get out of there. Just as Zhongli suspected, Gardevoir's magical fire had been a bluff. The moment Luoxian spoke, the flames vanished. Facing the incoming Stone Edge attack, Gardevoir, unfazed, began a graceful dance, twirling and fluttering through the air as if she was enjoying this. When a collision seemed unavoidable, she used Teleport to phase through the rocks. Tyranitar, detonate them. Ban. The moment Zhongli spoke, the nature of the falling rocks changed. Tyranitar used explosive release to turn them into timed explosives. Bang, bang, bang. The stones detonated in a chain reaction, turning the area into a minefield. The sudden explosions caught Gardevoir completely off guard. Surrounded by the rock's turn bombs, Gardevoir was caught in the blasts, and sent spiraling downward. She crashed to the ground. Gardevoir. Gardevoir. Are you okay? Luoxian, standing on the battle stage in her black stockings, shouted anxiously, concerned for her Pokémon. Is that a new move? How can Tyranitar's stone edge explode? The host on the main platform asked incredulously. The comment echoed the audience's own confusion. Jiangli, in the middle of the fight, couldn't answer. Even if he could, he wouldn't reveal the truth. His Tyranitar possessed the bloodline limit, explosive release, allowing him to turn any rock into an explosive. In previous battles, Tyranitar held back. This was just a tournament. In a real life or death battle, the stone edge explosion would have killed a regular Gardevoir instantly. Any Pokémon below the elite level would be obliterated. If the full extent of Tyranitar's abilities became known, powerful figures would try to take him. Back in the arena, Gardevoir, who had fallen to the ground, managed to stand, but Tyranitar's attack had taken a heavy toll. Gardevoir, use heal pulse. Tyranitar, interrupt her. Seeing Gardevoir try to heal, Jiangli ordered Tyranitar to stop her. Ban! Tyranitar used Rock Slide, summoning a huge rock slide to strike, but Gardevoir dodged and teleported to the edge of the ring. Then she instantly unleashed Heal Pulse, instantly recovering over half of her health. Gardevoir, life do. Seriously? Is Gardevoir a dedicated healer? The healing moves keep coming. A vibrant raindrop formed in Gardevoir's hand. Gardevoir used the droplet to instantly heal her remaining injuries. Let's keep fighting, Luo Xian, still showing off her black stockings, said with a grin. Ugh, as expected of someone in the semi-finals, she's not going down easy, Jiangli thought. Gardevoir, Misty Terrain. Gardevoir, at Luo Xian's command, Gardevoir channeled all her fairy energy. Pink light radiated from her body. The light quickly spread, blanketing the arena in a field of fairy energy. Fairy types had an advantage over Tyranitar, so this was bad news for Jiangli. Even though Misty Terrain wasn't a weather condition, it was as good as one. Tyranitar, Sandstorm, but as a desert tyrant, Tyranitar wasn't afraid to battle for control of the weather. Ban! Tyranitar roared, channeling the energy of the surrounding rocks. Instantly, swirling sand submerged the arena, filling the air with dust and haze. The powerful wind and sand of the sandstorm pushed Gardevoir's Misty Terrain to the edge of the ring. The sandstorm quickly enveloped most of the arena, negating the beneficial environment. Gardevoir could only huddle in her shrinking patch of mist. In the sandstorm, Pokémon other than steel, rock, and ground types would be constantly buffeted by the sand. While the damage wasn't significant at first, it would add up over time. Chapter 69 Dragon-type quasi-god dragon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing Gardevoir cornered, Jiangli immediately told Tyranitar to press the advantage. Tyranitar, use Stone Edge again. At Jiangli's command, jagged rocks rained down on Gardevoir. Gardevoir, teleport. Dodge it. Having already taken a hit from Rock Tomb, Luo Xian wasn't about to let Gardevoir risk a direct dodge. She had to rely on teleport to evade the falling boulders, but constant use was taking its toll. Even for a psychic type, continuous teleport drained a lot of energy. Tyranitar, Dark Pulse. Roar! Hearing Jiangli's order, Tyranitar bared its fangs. Dark energy gathered in its maw, erupting in a jet-black wave that washed across the arena. Gardevoir, Dazzling Gleam. A shimmering pink wave surged forth, meeting the darkness head-on. Against Tyranitar's Dark Pulse, Luo Xian had no choice but to counter with Dazzling Gleam, but the dark energy interfered with Gardevoir's focus, momentarily disrupting its teleport. Unable to dodge, Gardevoir was struck by the Stone Edge, taking serious damage. Tyranitar, Hyper Beam. At Jiangli's words, Tyranitar unleashed a destructive, pale beam at Gardevoir. Oh no! Luo Xian muttered. Gardevoir, Psychic. Luo Xian knew now that Tyranitar's Dark Pulse was meant to block Gardevoir's teleport. Facing this attack, Gardevoir had to stand her ground, gathering every ounce of psychic energy. A surge of power crackled around her hands. Gardevoir braced herself against the oncoming Hyper Beam, unleashing Psychic to meet it head-on. Invisible psychic force pushed against the destructive energy. Struggling to contain it in mid-air, Jiangli watched Gardevoir's effort with a smile. In a direct clash of power, his Tyranitar was unmatched. Tyranitar, finish it. Roar! Encouraged by Jiangli, Tyranitar poured on the power, resisting Gardevoir's Psychic. Tyranitar's output intensified. The hyper beam slammed into Gardevoir, overwhelming her defenses. The surge of heat and power drained Gardevoir instantly, sending her crashing to the ground. Gardevoir, struggling to rise, Gardevoir collapsed. Just as Luo Xian was about to concede, Tyranitar delivered the final blow, knocking Gardevoir unconscious. Luo Xian was speechless. Zhongli wins the semi-final match. The referee declared Zhongli the winner. After the match, Zhongli went to greet Luo Xian, but she glared at him, recalled Gardevoir, and stormed off. She was likely upset that Tyranitar had knocked out Gardevoir at the end. Luo Xian didn't bother with the Pokémon Center nearby. Gardevoir wasn't seriously hurt, just exhausted. Zhongli stayed to watch the second semi-final match. It would determine his opponent in the finals. The winner was considered the frontrunner for the championship, and many believed they had already booked their victory. Zhongli's rise had sparked anticipation for a showdown between him and the favorite. Otherwise, the final result seemed inevitable. In the afternoon, a man in a black trench coat and sunglasses entered the arena. This was Mtln, the competition favorite, facing a powerful Swampert. Mtln proved his strength. His main Pokémon was a Dragonite, a dragon type with incredible speed. The Dragonite overwhelmed the Swampert. Using moves of multiple types, it adapted to counter its opponent's weaknesses. The final blow was a Solar Beam, a grass-type move that was 4 times effective against the water/ground-type Swampert. Mtln won the semi-finals, then smiled at Zhongli. "Now it's our turn. I look forward to your challenge." The crowd erupted. Mtln had issued his challenge to Zhongli. Zhongli took it coldly. Mtln saw himself as superior, waiting for Zhongli to challenge him. Zhongli found it disrespectful. Zhongli looked at Mtln's arrogance and now had another reason to win. He enjoyed bringing those above him crashing down to earth. Victory in the finals meant obtaining Charizard's Mega Stone, forcing him to prepare. His Charizard was close to reaching its peak. It was time for another dimensional adventure, ready to level Charizard to peak strength and fight with everything he had. Chapter 70 Lure the snake out of its hole and danger strikes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After watching the semi-finals, Zhongli didn't go back to rest. Instead, he wandered around the street, giving Su Lin an opportunity. The system's temporary mission confirmed Su Lin held a grudge and would cause trouble. But Zhongli couldn't always be on guard against Su Lin secretly plotting against him. He'd end up with a nervous breakdown, so, Zhongli deliberately wandered around the water system gym, along the coastline, far from the city center. At night, without lights, it would be pitch black, the perfect opportunity to strike. This was Zhongli's plan to lure him out. Besides, his dad had left his Wind Speed Dog with him. With Wind Speed Dog's protection, Zhongli could wander around as he pleased. The Su family wouldn't send gym-level trainers after him. That would be overkill. And even if Su Lin did find a gym-level trainer, if Wind Speed Dog couldn't win, it could still get Zhongli away. They were close to the city, after all. Su Lin wouldn't dare mess with Zhongli in the city. Meanwhile, in a Shanghai hospital, Su's mother, who was caring for Su Lin, received a call. After she hung up, she muttered, "The chance is here. Son, I'll avenge you. That nobody will wish he was never born. I'm going to. I want my revenge." Su Lin croaked, his face pale. His illness was a lie. A black shadow detached itself from Su Lin's body and smirked, positioning itself behind the man in the black suit. As soon as the shadow left, Su Lin seemed much better, his color returning. The black shadow was a ghost-type cursed doll. No wonder Su Lin got so sick in the detention center. A ghost-type elf living inside him was bound to cause problems. This cursed doll was professionally trained, so the guards in the detention center couldn't detect its influence. Ghost-type elves weren't common in the eastern region either, and the hospital's tests didn't find anything. Su Lin's mother's people covered up the truth, enabling him to fake a serious illness to get released on medical parole. Just then, the man in the black suit knocked out the police officer guarding Su Lin. He needed the officer alive to establish an alibi. Their plan was to stun the officer, sneak out to find Zhongli, deal with him, and return to the hospital, providing a perfect alibi. Su's mother knew they'd be the first suspects if something happened to Zhongli. "Uncle, let's go. I've been waiting forever." Su Lin urged. Xiao Lin, when will you learn to control your temper? The man said. Look at all the trouble you've caused. Our family's always cleaning up your messes. This time, the military warned us. Uncle, now's not the time for this. This is a perfect opportunity. Let's get that nobody. I'll make him pay for what he did. Su Lin said. Seeing the man scolding Su Lin, Su's mother quickly changed the subject, urging him to go after Jiangli, to avenge the disrespect he showed her. In her mind, Jiang Li's refusal to accept her kindness was unforgivable. All he had to do was sign the agreement and give her the baby dragon, and she might have been willing to let it slide. He was just a commoner, after all. If the military hadn't gotten involved, they would have taken care of him long ago. Normally, the Su family members would pretend to be friendly with someone like him. But once they were crossed, the dark side of their nature emerged. This attack was sanctioned by the Su family. They sent the third uncle, who usually kept a low profile, so that if anything happened to Jiangli, no one could trace it back to them, but Su's mother didn't realize Jiangli did have connections. His dad had a quasi-king level elf, an opponent even the Su family couldn't defeat. Back on the deserted beach, Jiangli pretended to train his elves. The pokeball holding wind speed dog flickered. He smiled slightly. The fish was taking the bait. He looked up at the bright lights in the distance, pretending to leave. Suddenly, 3 figures appeared. They walked out of the darkness silently, wordlessly, as if trying to intimidate Jiangli. As they approached, Jiangli recognized them. In the middle was Su Lin, who Jiangli had sent to the detention center. Next to him stood a silent man in a black suit, his face scarred and menacing. He looked at Jiangli as if he were already dead. A child would have been terrified.